Greetings and blessings, blessings and greetings, blessed souls. Goodman, and we are live because we want to stay alive in Torah Chaim Chesed Rachamim, in the divine instruction of life and kindness and mercies. This segment, we're going to be dealing with a blog posted by none other than Rabbi Doctor Eliezer Goldstock, certainly a pioneer in raising awareness within the Jewish community, certainly not confined to raising awareness in the Jewish community, because he also deals with a lot of blessed Noahites concerning the issue of how to educate parents, how to not be ashamed, and to take the bold and courageous move, which is considered in the Torah to have Mesirat Nefesh, self-sacrifice, not to give away their children who were born with Down syndrome, which Rabbi Dr. Goldstock calls up syndrome. So before I get into reading from a portion of Rabbi Dr. Goldstock's blog, I'd like to just pluck out something from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, from a teaching from, I think it's about 54 years ago, it'd be 53 years ago, excuse me, and this happens to be, by the way, Yud Tes Tammuz, Tafshin Ayin, 5,770 years blazing and grazing into the creation, corresponding to July 1st. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one today in Boiler Room, Brooklyn, New York, and all around the world, probably. And the Rebbe talked about this concept of Hashrat HaShechina, the indwelling of the divine presence. Shechina meaning divine presence. And we understand that in the Beit HaMikdash, or the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the holy temple, the Beit HaMikdash used to dwell within the poles of the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark of the Covenant, in the Holy of Holies. And there are a couple of perceptions how the divine presence would dwell. Now, there is, by way of an allegory to understand, that, for instance, when we write something of intellect with our hand, like this hand or your hand, blessed souls, that when we write the intellect, and it's an elated intellect, okay, we're not writing it with the fingers of our toes, with the fingers of our hand. However, do we say that the hand is as bright as the mind? No. There's a transference of the intellect in a manner that the way the hand is designed, the hand can relate to the intellect according to its level to transmit the intellect. So too, the indwelling of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, is according to how we make ourselves vessels for drawing down more divine presence to give people a greater sense of awareness of the Most High. So what Rabbi Doctor Goldstock, and his Wife of Valor, Maras Rabbi Chana, have dedicated themselves the last almost 20 years is to educating people about Down syndrome. And basically in a blog that Rabbi Dr. Goldstock wrote on April 29, 2007, and this will probably take more than one video, is understanding that there are three ways in which Down syndrome occurs. The first and most common way that an infant is born, what is known as trisomy 21, and as a result, faulty cell division. This results in an extra chromosome being included in the total of 46, which is composed of 23 pair of chromosomes, resulting in a total being 47 chromosomes. So there's an extra chromosome which can cause a problem. However, this form is called non-dysfunctional and is found to be the cause of Down syndrome in the vast majority of births where the syndrome is present. Rabbi Goldstock quotes 94% of births of children diagnosed with Down syndrome or up syndrome because of an extra chromosome. About 4% of infants born with Downs have what is referred to as translocation, which occurs when the extra chromosome is accidentally created during the process of the seed and the egg formation. This is called I guess, meiosis, if I'm pronouncing correctly, Meiosis. So what happens here, blessed souls, is that an extra chromosome during this process attaches itself to the pair of chromosomes known as the 21st pair. This chromosome usually comes from the pair identified as the 14th pair. And finally, in 2 to 6% of Down/Up syndrome births, there is a category known as mosaicism. I'll spell it out for you, MOSAICISM. This takes place due to an erroneous cell division after conception, thus setting itself apart from other two methods of trisomy 21, which can and do only occur prior to conception. So this category is basically, Dr. Goldstock writes, is the most ambivalent of the three, since these babies have both normal as well as non-dysfunctional cell division after conception. This will result in a baby with a combination of normal cells as well as trisomy 21 cell groups, and often mental retardation is not as pronounced in these babies. So after reading this, most parents will think, well, there is a ray of hope. Not exactly. And here then is the source of ambivalence. This form of Down syndrome, the last category mentioned, is a double-edged sword. That is to say that while often the children have a milder form of retardation or actually normal intelligence, is also the source of the worst case scenarios, even worse than the other more commonly known forms. And again, Dr. Goldstock brings out, this is of course all depends upon the location and types of cell division. Despite the fact that medical science has made these astonishing discoveries, we must keep in mind, blessed souls, that whoever this human being is, born with these three different types of conditions, nevertheless, this person, boy or girl, has a Tzelem Elokim, a divine image, that they are created by the Most High. You know, we're all human. We all have our hopes and our dreams and our desires. We are also we can easily get frustrated when an obstacle prevents us from achieving our goals. Having a baby born less than perfect can be perceived as that obstacle. Most babies relinquished at birth are given away because the families say they cannot cope. This is a rationalization, blessed souls. But rationalizations should not be confused with rational thought. These excuses are not reasons, and the self-pity is not justification for giving up. Families can cope if they choose to cope. Families can opt for an easy way out if they opt not to cope. But there's a divine connection that we should be aware of. It's between us and the Almighty. And what we are empowered with by this divine connection between ourselves, Nefesh Elokis, and the Almighty Himself, this divine connection can manifest to love your fellow as yourself. So, blessed souls, this is what we'll end on this note. And this is Danzos Yugubin reminding everyone, a organization worthy of you checking out on the World Wide Web is www.hearttoheartamerican.org. And this is Danzos Yugubin reminding everyone on this blessed day that we're all blessed to vibe and scribe out verbally to each other that Hashrat HaShekhinah is us training various aspects of our existence, whether it be in the thought process, in the sight process, in the hearing process, in the smelling process, in the tasting and speaking process, and also in the process of removing that foreskin around our heart, to bring about more dignity to any human being in the world. In this particular case, children with no choice of their own were born with Down/Up syndrome. So please check out the website again, www.hearttoheartamerican.org, and to be continued, Lahamshich, B'darchinam Darchi Shalom, in a pleasant, peaceful way. Gorel Echad, one destiny, Kulano, for all of us, Bor Echad, in the one Creator.